This is Ford Racing Nation's first project car, labeled Project Ruby. When we bought this car, it was 100% bone stock. Now, as you can see, what I'm pointing at right now, that's in my hand, is not stock anymore, because that is the first upgrade we did. I mean, it still had factory plugs in it, factory box, no tune, no gear, no exhaust. Even had the factory cassette deck and CD player separate in those years. Yeah, still had a cassette deck. So being a bone stock car, what do you think would be the first modification? A lot of people put exhaust, gears. I can tell you this, the very first mod that I would ever do on a stick shift Mustang is the shifter. It always has been, always will be my first modification. The reason why I say the shifter is always your first mod, because you know what's more embarrassing than losing a race with the girl beside you? Missing a gear. Yeah, that's far more embarrassing. Now we installed the MGW shifter. A great shifter, great product, love it already. And we're going to show you how we installed this shifter on this car. Okay, so we're going to go over all the parts that come in the box. Now right off the bat, I can tell you, shipping wise, this product is a 10 out of 10. Everything is neatly packaged and labeled and exactly what we want to see when we open up a box. I don't try and figure out what's what. Though it is pretty simple, I mean, it's great packaged. So this is a sound deadening material that you put on after you install the shifter before you put the plastic back on. Here's a shifter base. This is also new product from MGW, which is a gasket rather than using the silicone. All right, and then you got the new bolts to mount it to the transmission itself, the stops. You also have a battery that's exhausted. The shifter stops. Comes with the MGW 5-speed ball. And we also decided to get the other shifter ball that has racing stripes on it. It's also a little bit bigger in diameter too, so if you have a bigger hand, I think this will be a better option for you. We also decided to get the fancy nut that goes on to tighten the ball up. And we also have the piece that attaches to the shifter, and the handle attaches to this as well. Allen key, tighten up the bolts. Now when it comes to shifter handles, you have 3 options to choose from. In this review, we're going to test all 3 of them to see how short they are in comparison to each other. Now on the website they have showing that it's 25, 30, and 35% less throw. But we're actually going to measure it in inches so you can see for yourself which would be the best one for you to choose. Alright, first thing you're going to want to do, remove the shifter knob. Once you're done that, take the shifter knob, throw it away. Next, you're going to want to take the plastic and pop it out. Just like so. Now I'm fighting with this a little bit because I just don't want to break them, because I always do. Put 5th gear. Nice. Now the plate will come up. Alright, I'm going to use a rubber mallet to tap this thing out because they ain't coming, so. There we go. Alright, what do I do with the razor blade? What do I do with it? Really? when you're using a razor blade, don't gouge the aluminum when you're scraping it across. Basically go over it like you're shaving your face. If you're not old enough to shave, then you're probably not going to be doing this. Now it's time to install the shifter. MGW comes with a gasket and silicone. You have a choice which one you want to use, just don't use both. I've used the silicone many times in the past. This time around I'm going to try the gasket and see how that works out. Normally I would clean the surface here on the aluminum, but it looks pretty clean, so I'm going to pull the backing tape off and stick it right down to it. Let's try it. I'm going to peel this back off halfway, put these bolts in, bend that. This will help line up the gasket when I put it on. Then cup holder works great. There we go. Perfect. Because I use the bolts, now there'll be no issues when I go to line it up onto the transmission. Alright. Now there is plastic on this too as well. I'm going to peel that side off. Keeping it neutral. Now they're saying to use blue Loctite, which I plan on doing, but it gets messy. So by lining it up, kitty corner, the next two bolts will have blue Loctite on it. Then I'll pull those out, put blue Loctite on it. Then I don't have to worry about it messing up on me. The reason why I tell you use blue Loctite, not red, is because blue is removable and red is more permanent. I mean, you definitely take it out, but I wouldn't use it for a job like this. Now, when it comes to the Loctite, just a few dabs will do you. If you just put it around a little bit, put an extra few dabs in one spot, it will, as you screw it down, get into the threads. So now it's time to put the shifter stops in. Back them out a little bit. So basically what the shifter stop does is make sure that you don't overthrow a gear and essentially start breaking stuff in the transmission. They're definitely a needed or plus factor for the T5 and T45. If you're dealing with a Tremec transmission, I've talked to Nate a number of times about this, and their stops inside the transmissions are strong enough where you technically don't need these. I'd still use them anyway and back it out and set it up just because they're there and it's extra insurance. And I got an email. This is a T45, we have to set them, so let's do that. Put it in third gear, hold it until you touch. And you want to put firm pressure on the shifter itself in third gear and make sure you hand tighten it to so it touches. Then what you're going to want to do is back it out almost a complete turn. So, and I know exactly how to do this. What you want to do is put a white line pretty much at the top. So basically what I'm doing with the white marker is I'm taking it and just running it over the threads when it's at the top. That way I know all I have to do is back it out from one turn from there. So yeah, I can still see some of the white paint. I'm going to dab it again because I did not clean the tip off before I decided to do this. If you don't have a marker like what I use, just grab Whiteout. And what we're going to do, hold it and grab the right wrench. That usually helps. Which I don't have here because I probably put it away. Oh, to torque them down is a 13, which is the same as remove it. The original handle was a 10, and this is a 14. So I'll put a list of tools in the description. If you're looking at this on Ford Racing Nation, I'll have all that. Alright. Now we're going to do fourth gear. Fourth gear. It's alright. Hold it back. Try to let the paint dry. There's that. Now, you just need to turn it. There's that. Okay, now that we have the shifter bottom section installed, and we've obviously played with it and went through the gears like everybody does, now it's time to put the dust cover over the stops. I find the best way is to work it over one end, and then make sure it's seated. And get it around the other side. It should just pop on, no problem. Says the guy that's having difficulties. I'm just checking to make sure it's all the way around underneath the lip, so it seals it and no water gets into where it's all greased and lubricated. And we're good to go. So now it's time to put the factory dust shield back on. I didn't clean it because it's obviously going to get dirty again. And I find the best way to do it is to slip it in and get it around the driver's side first, and make sure you don't pinch your wires underneath too. Slide around. It should just fall into place. Like I said, pinching the wires. There we go. Alright, now you put the 4 bolts back in. And I'm using a gun because I'm lazy and I don't have a battery. That's the problem when you're lazy and you don't have batteries. Now this is another cool feature that MGW shifters have. So what it does is two things. It helps to move the shifter back, we'll say about center point, about 1 inch. So the throw is actually 1 inch closer to you rather than being off of the center point of where all the other shifters are. Another thing too is that you can rotate it. So when you put it in, I'll put it on, you can actually basically set it to the way you like it. If you want to move it in and swing this out, or whichever way you want to do it, you can rotate it. So if you have a bad wrist, technically this shifter is the best on the market, ergonomically designed for you to be able to adjust it for a proper wrist position. So we have all 3 handles that we're going to test. Now I'm putting the shifter in before Mustang Week, and I'm just going to use the shortest one. When we get back, we'll actually swap them out and we'll try the different ones. So what I'm doing now is I'm adjusting where I want this. Now George in his video for MGW says to put it about at 7 o'clock. I kind of like that, so I am going to do that. Straight 6. So here it is. We're going to use the race handle. I want straight, so, and I'm going to run it at the standard height. Right. And what I mean by standard height is I'm just going to have it where it's machined and the part that you can bolt in is going to be flush. Yeah, that's about right. And it's a little taller than I want. And you can crank these down. They're grade 8 bolts, so you're not going to break them. Don't over tighten them, but give them a good snug, because you don't want to be out there and have it come loose on you. Now we have the shifter installed and everything's set. Now it's time to put the factory plastic on again. You might notice in the first part of the video when I was pulling this up, because I sure did, my tabs are already broken. Obviously somebody's been in here before, so when you're taking it out you want to start at the back here, pull up, and then pull these out. But like I said, that clip's missing, that one's broken. Tall tale sign of somebody must have had a shifter in here or something before I got the car. Oops. Almost forgot a step. Alright, so this is what I almost forgot. MGW is the only shifter that I know of that supplies an extra piece of sound deadening foam that will go over the factory dust cover. Right, and what this does is it helps sound deadens the noise from the transmission, which I personally don't mind, but we'll try it and see how well it works. So just tuck it in around underneath the plastic center console there. Now there's plenty of extra here to get it tucked underneath. I find it easier too if you pull up a bit on the center console from the inside, it'll slip in a lot easier. Don't pull too hard. Wow. Yeah, I like it. Now that that's all secure, it's time to put back your shifter boot. Don't forget to plug in your cigarette lighter or you won't be able to charge your cell phone. Alright. That is basically from the factory what you get, and then you get the handle to go on it. This says MGW on the side. Now we went for an upgrade right off the bat, and we got their fancy locking nut to hold the ball on, as well as their race shifter with the stripes on it. So, race shifter ball with the stripes on it. I did notice that the MGW shifter ball itself is a little smaller in diameter, so if you have smaller hands, that might be a good choice for you. Take the locking nut, screw it all the way down, and then take the ball, screw it all the way down. What you don't want to do is to reef on the ball and to spin the numbers around. All right, so that's what the locking nut's for. Back it off so the numbers are and the stripes are upright where you want them. Put it up against there. Make sure it's straight. And tighten the nut. Time to take this thing out on the road and give her a test.